How to practice positive thinking?
When we look at our lives, we all feel that life is full of difficulties. Most people feel that things are greener on the other side. Most people feel that it's only they who are living a difficult life, whereas others are leading lives which are very fulfilling for them. Little do we realize that whatever is best for us is what is happening in our lives. And so one needs to be understanding what the mind is doing to us. So the mind wants us entangled in the world. So it puts negativity into our life. Because wherever there's negativity, there's no peace. There's always disturbances. And wherever there's disturbances, then it's very difficult to still ourselves. And the key for spiritual well being is to be calm, to be quiet, quiet in the body and quiet in the mind. So the mind is always doing things so that we are in turmoil. And negativity is a very easy way of the mind to put us in that state. If we get angry, we are in turmoil. If we feel someone has taken the better of us, we are in turmoil. If we feel someone has more than us in jealousy, we are in turmoil. So all negativity creates tension in our lives. The key is to understand that each and every one of us is loved by God tremendously. Whatever is right for us is what is happening in our lives. And God is the one who has the strings to our very existence. And so having faith in God is important. If we have faith in God, then instead of thinking negatively, we'll be thinking positively. We'll have hope. We'll know that things will get better, even though we feel we are in a difficult situation. We know that that too shall pass. And then we will be calm, and then we'll be in peace, and then it'll be much more easier for us to meditate and be able to experience the inner vistas within. So, to be positive, one needs to start with thinking positively. Our understanding needs to be clear that this existence is a positive one. So, if our understanding is clear, our thinking would be clear. If our thinking is positive, the words that come out of us would be positive, and the words that come out of us are positive, then they create a positive environment. So the key is to be able to have a good understanding of what life is all about. And it all starts by understanding that God, the Creator, loves us tremendously. It's God who's pulling our life in the right direction. And so, as we develop faith in God, then we will start to lead lives in which there's positivity, and our understanding will make us get to a state where our thinking will get positive and all other aspects of our life will get positive also.
How is it possible to have positions of this world without being attached to them?
The path of Sant is telling us that we should live in our societies, we should live in our cultures, and we all are at different social statuses. So, whatever our outside life is, it has no effect on our spiritual well being. So, when we are on the path back to God, then we are focused on God. So, it doesn't matter what is surrounding us. So, there are people from all facets of life who can attain God because God is available to each and every one of us. The question is like when we have possessions, Are we attached to them? And if you're attached to your possessions, then definitely if you lose them, something happens to them, then you get distraught. But there is nothing wrong with having the possessions, but we should not be attached to them. There's always this interesting story about a spiritual master who was a king. And so, being a king, he lived in the palace, and as you know, in the palaces there's a lot of pomp and show. And so, a young child had the question that how can you be a spiritual master when you live in this much pomp and show? So, the king asked him to come to the palace one day and check it out for himself. So, he gave him a ball full of water or milk, and said, "Okay, I want you to go all around the palace and have this ball in your hand and make sure none of this liquid which is in the ball drips out." So now the child is going in the palace, and the palace is very beautiful. They got chandeliers, they got beautiful paintings, they got all kinds of things. But the attention of the child is right in that ball because he's afraid that if anything drops out of this, if one drop of liquid falls out of the ball, he would be in trouble. So while living in that environment, by staying in the environment, the attention is what is important. Where is our attention? So if you have possessions, there's nothing wrong with it, but your attention should be on God. So we are focused on God and our attention is on God, irrespective of whatever social status we have, irrespective of whatever finances we have. It does not affect our spiritual well-being. The key is to have our focus in the right direction. And the right direction is God. So whether we have possessions or we don't have possessions, it does not matter on our spiritual path because the spiritual path is equally available to someone who's rich and someone who's poor and someone who's educated and someone who's not educated. What is important is the intent and our attention. Is our intent to know ourselves, is our intent to know God? And where is our focus? Is our intention on God or our attention is on the world outside? So if our attention is on God, and this is where the question of Simran comes in, we can do Simran and we can be doing anything, we could be living in any place, we could have all kinds of pomp and show around us. But if our attention is on God, then we will be growing spiritually.
How to keep faith in God when everything is falling apart?
It is very easy to have faith in God when everything is working according to what we would like it to work. All of us are happy when we feel that whatever we want, whatever we wish for is being fulfilled. So as soon as things happen contrary to what we expect and what we wish them to be, then there is pain. We are unable to deal with the situation. And so what is very important is to realize that each and every one of us is not fully aware of what has happened with us or what are the effects of what we've done before. So we all have karmas associated with us. Our soul has been transmigrating for eons and eons, and every time we got a human birth, we had thoughts, we had words, we had deeds, and so we created karma. So just this past karma is coming with us. It goes into a storehouse called Sanchit karmas. And then a part of that is taken which is called pralabdha karmas, which is what we experience through this lifetime. Now we have no knowledge of what that karma is, so 75% of our life is preordained and based on that karma. And so many times things could be happening that we are not aware of. We might think that we are aware of a lot of things, but even most people don't remember what they did when they were a child. And then as we get to be a teenager, then we start to remember more and more and more of our life. But since we are not aware of what our pralabdha karmas are, so when ups and downs in life happen, because they have to play out in our life, which are not as we would want them to be, then we find it difficult to deal with them. So the key is to have faith in God. This we all realize that there is God who created the creation. So God the Creator is in control, and when we have full faith in God, that the extended hand of the Lord is always there to help us pass through any difficulty of life, then we will be able to deal with the situation better. So the saying like sweet is thy will or tera bhana mitha lage, which means the same thing, sweet is thy will, that we need to take everything that comes in our life in stride. We need to realize, even if it's contrary to what we expect, we should realize that this is better for us because our karmas are being wiped out one by one. And so even if we go through a painful state, if we go to a state in which there is physical difficulties or other difficulties, then we need to take it that this is a part of our cleaning up. And as this happens, so this load of karma is away. And so to do that, we have to have a lot of faith in God. We as human beings are very fickle-minded. If we think we get something that we want, then we are happy, then we have faith in God. If we feel we should get something and we didn't get it, then we feel devastated and we say, oh, God is not taking care of us. But those who have full faith in God pass through all phases of life, whether they be difficult or not. And so the key is to have full faith in God, that God the Creator is always there for our well-being. God the Creator loves us tremendously. God the Creator wants the very best for us, and everything that happens in our life is under God's will. Now, if we start to not only believe in that, but if we start to lead our life like that, then we'll find that there is no difficulty that we can't pass through. If we understand that some difficulties are going to come in our life because of our karmas being cleaned up, then we will pass through life in a very, very fine manner in which our faith in God will be strengthened, and in which, even though it seems like it's a difficult period, but we won't be in turmoil. The key is to be able to be in a stable state, a state of equipoise, so nothing bad or nothing very good can take us away from the state of equipoise, because we need that to be able to meditate better. Any change from the state of equipoise is always going to put us in turmoil. So the key is to be able to experience that state of calm and peace, because that is what is required for a spiritual journey, that is what is required for the flight of a soul. And as we have faith in God, all other things are going to fall into place.
We all like to be appraised. How can one go beyond self-appraisal? Please guide.
As human beings, we all feel that we are doing a good job. No one feels that they're doing anything wrong. So when we feel we're doing a good job, we feel that others should give us some praise. They should praise that we did this thing right. They should give us praise that we did that thing right. What actually is happening is we all are boosting our egos up. Any praise that we expect from someone else is a boost to our ego. When someone tells us, you've done this thing good, we feel, oh, I've done something very good, and then we start to feel ourselves as if we are better than others. And so we need to get to a state which is known as a state of equipoise. Many times in life it also happens. If people start to tell us, oh, you're not doing this thing good, you're not doing this thing good, then we start to go down and we go in a downer where we're upset with ourselves, where our spiral is taking us into times of sorrow and difficulties. So the key to life is to stay in the state of equipoise, where if anything makes us be more egoistic, then we can bring that down and keep it to a normal level. If something depresses us, we also keep it to a normal level. So the key to life is to stay in a calm and a collected manner, because it is only then that we'll be able to experience the realities of our existence. If we always keep on boosting our ego up, then we'll find that we are going to find ourselves to be away from others. There'll be duality in our life. It'll be we and them instead of everything being us. And so the key is to stay in that state of harmony with the divine and equipoise, so that we are able to journey into the regions beyond. We're able to experience the divine light and Son of God, and our soul has an opportunity to merge back in God.
How do we deal with our tendency to always perceive others negatively?
Most of us think of ourselves as being individuals. We look in the mirror, we see a face, and we associate ourselves with that face. And there is no other face which is similar to ours. And so everyone starts to feel not only being individual, not only being different, but also being better than someone else. And so when you start to feel you're better than someone else, then the tendency is to look down upon others. And that's where negativity comes in. So we live a life of duality in which we think we are one and someone else is another. And so there's always this feeling of duality. And the more we live under that spell of duality, the more negativity we start to see in others, because we always feel to be superior than others. We always feel we are better than others. It's our ego which gets the better of us. And under that ego, we all see negativity. It's very interesting, even in your day-to-day work. Let's say you're reading a page, and let's say you're a teacher and you've given an assignment to the class and you're reading pages. So let's say on the page there are 1000 words on one page. So your attention only goes to one or two words which are either spelled wrong, and the other 998 or 99 words you don't think about. So we've been like a kind of trained in our own system to look at what we think is wrong. And since we all have such a big ego, we feel everything else is not as good as we are, or things have not been done as well as we can do them. And it's all a question of our duality and our ego. So to be able to get to a state where we get to look at things positively, the first thing that needs to be done is to realize the oneness that we all have. Sant Singh Ji Maharaj would often say, Ek bano, nek bano. So he would say, be one. Lead a life which is pious, which is full of virtues, a life in which you're loving, you're caring, you're non-violent, you're peaceful, you have compassion, you bring some joy into the life of others. And once you lead a life like that, then you will find that you are going to start to experience oneness with others. As we put the virtues into our life, when we meditate and we experience the divine light and sound of God within ourselves, then the realization sets in automatically that since we are experiencing God in ourselves, so can everyone else. And it is then that true unity starts to set in, because we realize we're all one and the same. And once we realize that we are one and the same, then we would be looking at things from a very positive point of view. You always look at good things about yourselves. Generally, you don't look at anything bad, because everyone feels that they're doing everything right. It's only others who tell us, you're not doing this thing right, or you're not doing this thing right. We ourselves feel we're doing everything correctly. So, as soon as we realize that we're all one and the same, that there are no differences, then our ego starts to come under control, and as our ego starts to come into control, then there's no question of any negativity anymore, because we realize we're all one and the same, and then we're always looking at things positively. We're encouraging not only ourselves to be connected with the divine light and sound of God within, we're also encouraging others to be connected, so that we live in peace and we live in harmony. So let us meditate for a few minutes. Please sit as comfortably as you can. Close your eyes very gently, just like you close them when you go to sleep. Your eyeball should be straight, focus 8 to 10 inches in front of you. And as you close your eyes, those of you who have been initiated in the mysteries of the beyond, please do your Simran. And those of you who are new here, please repeat any name of God that you feel comfortable with. This repetition of God's name should be done mentally and not out loud. So I pray to God Almighty to help each and every one of us here connect with the divine power within and experience the divine light and its effulgence. We'll be sitting for a few minutes. I'll be getting you out of this meditative state at that time. And my best wishes are with each and every one of you. प्लीज़ लीव ऑफ, छोड़ दीजिए जी।